Wood buffalo has one of the largest regions of karstic formations. Water carves the landscape, forming tunnels and caverns where the rivers run underground, or closed basins and sunken valleys where they run on the surface. The large rivers in this area dig away at the rock and jump over spectacular waterfalls before flowing into big lakes such as the Athabasca or the Great Slave, which border on the park. The watercourses are very rough in the spring because they are filled with water from the thaw of the snow and ice, and the water level is multiplied in just a few days. Even so, under these turbulent waters there are schools of fish which attract white pelicans, the best fishermen in wood buffalo. There are only two types of pelicans in the American continent: the brown pelican, which lives in the sea, and this one, the white pelican, which moves between marine and freshwater habitats according to the season. The white pelican spends the winter in warmer southern climes such as the coasts of Florida, the Gulf of Mexico and southern California. In the summer it moves to its breeding areas in lakes in the center of Canada and to some places in the Rocky Mountains. Its most northerly nesting area is in the rapids of the River Slave. The physical appearance of the white pelican changes noticeably at this time, during the process of courting and egg-laying. The adults display a streak of feathers in the form of a crest, and triangular, fibrous growths appear on the upper part of the bill, which fall off after the eggs are laid, and would seem to have a defensive function. It has been observed that during mating season fighting, the birds attack these protuberances with their bills, instead of attacking other more vulnerable or more dangerous areas. These pelicans' fishing techniques are different from that used by their cousins, the brown pelicans. While the latter use biting movements to capture their prey, the white pelicans work together, surrounding groups of fish, and then all at the same time put their heads under the water and capture them with their pouches in a beautiful type of aquatic ballet. When the first Europeans described the white pelicans in their chronicles, they must have seen them during the mating season before the egg-laying period. Confused by the voluminous growths on their bills, they described them as pelicans with teeth. In this way, the American white pelican became part of the zoological mythology of the Renaissance Europe until more observant ornithologists corrected the mistake. The pelicans are not the only ones to catch fish in wood buffalo. The local Indians are licensed to hunt and fish within the protected area, except for the endangered species. The original inhabitants of this area are the Dean Indians. The Cree settled here in the lower part of the River Peace relatively recently. Their descendants still exploit the natural resources here using traditional methods. The warm season passes very quickly and they need to stock up food for the incredibly long northern winter when the rivers freeze over and hunting becomes almost impossible. They cook what they catch in the open air or inside traditional Indian tents where wild animals attracted by the smell cannot steal the food. Smoking is the best method of conservation for the fish and the meat. Once smoked, the dry steaks are stored until the arrival of the snow and the winter cold. Until that time, fresh food can be eaten. This is the fishing season in the national park. In the northeastern edge of the park, near the River Slave, there is a plain of 250 square kilometers, which is covered by salt. A prehistoric ocean covered this area 400 million years ago. When this dried up, the salt was deposited in the soil and the springs that irrigate the plains brought it up to the surface. The water evaporates on the outside and the salt is left behind to cover the plains like a blanket of snow. From time immemorial, these salt flats were used by natives and later by European traders. Today, only the animals in the park approach its white crust in search of salts.